It began with something small. A single update from a trusted software company in Ukraine. Businessmen clicked yes. Bank employees clicked yes. Shipping companies clicked yes. But within hours, those clicks would trigger chaos across the world. ATMs shut down. Hospitals lost access to patient data. Shipping ports froze. Billions of dollars evaporated. This wasn't just a virus. This was NotPetya, the most destructive cyberattack in history. And to this day, no one knows who truly unleashed it, or what their real motive was. To understand NotPetya, we need to go back to the world before it struck. By 2017, Ukraine was locked in a tense digital war. Hackers had already taken down its power grid, plunging entire cities into darkness. Government agencies were constantly under attack. Banks were bleeding money. The internet was no longer just a tool, it had become a battlefield. But no one expected the next weapon would disguise itself as an ordinary update from an ordinary accounting program. The program was called M.E.Doc, a piece of Ukrainian tax software used by thousands of companies. For businesses, it was routine. For hackers, it was the perfect backdoor. Somewhere, hidden in the shadows, someone poisoned M.E.Doc's update server. So when businesses clicked update, they weren't downloading security patches. They were downloading a ticking time bomb. The attack began on June 27, 2017. At first, it looked like ransomware. Computers froze, and a chilling red message appeared on the screen. Oops, your important files are encrypted. Pay $300 in Bitcoin to get them back. But there was a problem. Security experts discovered the payment system didn't even work. The code was written to look like ransomware, but it wasn't ransomware at all. This wasn't about money. This was about destruction. NotPetya spread like wildfire, using powerful exploits to leap from one machine to another. Within hours, banks across Ukraine shut down. ATMs stopped working. Airports couldn't process tickets. Even Chernobyl's radiation monitoring system was taken offline. The country was paralyzed. But then something terrifying happened. The virus escaped Ukraine. A.P. Maersk, one of the largest shipping companies in the world, suddenly lost access to its entire global network. In over 600 offices across 130 countries, screens went black. Ships full of cargo sat stranded at ports, unable to dock or unload. Pharmaceutical giant Merck was hit next. Factories shut down. Medicine shipments were delayed worldwide. Logistics company FedEx reported losses in the hundreds of millions. Food giant Mondelez, the maker of Oreos and Cadbury, had its production halted. Even the biggest corporations in the world, companies with billions in resources, were helpless against a virus unleashed by a single software update. The damages? Over $10 billion. And yet, the people behind NotPetya never made a cent. So why would someone design malware that couldn't even make money? Investigators began to suspect the truth. NotPetya wasn't ransomware. It was a cyberweapon. Every clue pointed to a state-sponsored attack. But by who? Many pointed to Russia, claiming it was part of their ongoing cyber war against Ukraine. Others believed it was a test, a demonstration of power, showing the world that an invisible digital weapon could do as much damage as bombs or missiles. But then came the darker theories. What if NotPetya wasn't targeting Ukraine at all? What if Ukraine was just the testing ground? Some cybersecurity experts believe the attack was designed to see how quickly a virus could spread worldwide, how fast it could disrupt global supply chains, and how unprepared nations were for a digital apocalypse. If that's true, then NotPetya wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. Inside the wreckage, strange stories began to emerge. At Maersk's headquarters in London, the attack wiped out every computer. Employees were forced to communicate by writing on whiteboards and using personal cell phones. Entire shipping routes were being tracked manually with pen and paper. But then, a miracle. One single backup server, hidden away in an office in Ghana, was accidentally spared from the attack because of a power outage. That one server was flown by plane back to headquarters and used to rebuild Maersk's entire global network. If not for that lucky accident, the company might have collapsed entirely. At Chernobyl, workers had to pull out Geiger counters and manually record radiation levels on paper. Airports scrambled to process passengers by hand. Hospitals turned away patients. This wasn't just code. This was chaos. And then, it was over. Within hours, NotPetya had burned through its fuel. It destroyed everything it touched, then went quiet, like a fire that consumed itself. But the damage was done. Billions lost. Critical infrastructure shattered. A world reminded that invisible weapons could cause very real destruction. To this day, no one has ever been arrested for NotPetya. No hacker has taken credit. No government has officially admitted involvement. It remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in the history of cyber warfare. Narrator, voice deepens. But here's the terrifying truth. The code is still out there. Modified. Evolved. Waiting. Some cybersecurity experts warn that NotPetya was just a test run. That the real cyber war hasn't even begun. Imagine a future where an entire country's power grid goes offline. Where banks lose every record of who owns what. Where airplanes can't take off, hospitals can't run, and billions vanish from the economy in a single night. That future isn't science fiction. It's already been tested. And it has a name. NotPetya.